Hey, Shoulds.
Hey.
Okay, I'm gonna mute that. I didn't know you was gonna get here so quick.
I do sometimes.
Gangsta. So what's going on, Mr. Brandon?
Not much. Doing well. How about you?
I'm finally not sneezing, not
Nice.
coughing my head off. My eyes aren't itchy anymore. I
That's a
had to
good
raise
sign.
the window. What if it's the bearded dragon that's doing it? Like every single morning I come into this room and I start sneezing and my eyes are itching and hey Narnie, Emerald Girl, hey Merrick, Marie Duffy. How are you guys this morning? Hey Frustrated Lurker. It's good to see you in here. Every single morning. Allergies like crazy. And it's driving me insane.
I know.
Hey, Serenity here. Good morning. So what's good? Hey, Eric.
Not much. Just hanging out.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I had to, Daniel just messaged me and he said, Mom, you got to hurry up and call the school. I have to get my laptop. And I was like, Daniel, I already filled it out. He said, no, you filled it out for Beaver Creek, not the Career Center.
That's stupid.
I know.
So stupid.
You know, what really drives me insane about that is that we have to pay school fees for Beaver Creek and we have to pay school fees for Greene County Career Center. Yeah. How dumb is that?
Broken system.
Infidel lady, good morning, hun. Yes, Eric, allergies are a bitch, man. I'm telling you what, it's every single morning. And it's been going on for like the past couple months and I can't get it to stop. Hey, Blue Sugar. I love you so much. Good morning to you. Oh, be careful driving and texting. I'm probably guilty of that too.
You're one to talk.
I know. I am for sure. So, you know, I thought we would talk about like maintenance medication pertaining to people that, you know, are in recovery. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I can definitely share my experience with both methadone and Suboxone and kind of go through that if you want.
Yeah. What was it? It's been about 2 years. Hey, Babe Beauty. Good morning, darling. It's been about, 2 years since I stopped taking Suboxone. And the reason that I quit taking Suboxone is because my legs started to swell and I couldn't figure out what it was. And in my opinion, and I don't know, I just really thought that that was the reason that my legs were swelling. I could have swore it had everything to do with the naloxone that was in the Suboxone, right? And once I went cold turkey off that shit, and that was the worst thing I could have ever done. But once I stopped taking it, the swelling went away. Does that even make sense?
You've swelled since then, just not like you did.
Oh man.
But you got to remember, you tend to consume a lot of salt.
Yes, Subutex. You know, when it comes to maintenance medication, Emerald Girl, I love you. When it comes to maintenance medication and Subutex, I have thought about going on that again since I, recently relapsed or whatever. But my mind keeps going back to the withdrawal from the Suboxone Subutex. That was the worst withdrawal I've ever had. But then again, I did it cold turkey, which was really stupid.
Off of 16 milligrams, for anyone who understands that, she nosedived instead of like slowly, like taking less every day, like the rest of the world. She just up and quit taking them one day.
Well, I'm really impulsive, right? And I got in my mind that that would be a smart thing to do. Just stop. Like I did with cigarettes. I did the same thing with cigarettes. And I do that. I'm so weird. I don't know what it was, but in my mind, I thought it would be a great idea to do that. It was absolutely the worst mistake I ever freaking made because the withdrawals from that were so bad that I was seeing delusions and oh my God, it was awful. And it went on for weeks. Oh,
Well, I think the
morning.
delusions were because you weren't sleeping. So when you don't sleep, you tend to hallucinate.
Yeah, I couldn't sleep for, oh my gosh, it was awful. It was awful. Coffee with Cece says, I have taken Suboxone for many years and I really want to stop taking it, but I am so scared of the withdrawals. I mean, if you do it right, Brandon, that's more of you
Oh,
know.
it can be done right. I mean, it's working with your doctor and really working with yourself. It's kind of like the idea of Suboxone is, and in the state we live in, the max you can be on Suboxone is 2 years. Now there's ways around that, and there's little loopholes here and there, but for the most part, most addicts or people on Suboxone can only be on it for 2 years. Now, within those 2 years, they hope that you've developed some sort of a program, whether it's a 12-step program, spiritual path, whatever. So when it's time to detox, excuse me, you have some sort of defense because your brain is going to make that detox 100 times worse than what it
Mhm.
is. There's absolutely a physical aspect to it in terms of like body aches, and diarrhea, and all the stuff that would regularly come with opioid withdrawal. But our brains make it out to be tenfold, 100-fold, just because that's who we are. And we're so used to living with something that once it's not there, it's like, now what? Like, I can't survive without this. But basically, yeah, you taper off. So if you're on 16, you'll go down to 12 milligrams for a couple months, and then you'll go to 8 milligrams for a few months, all the way down to 4. And you're actually technically supposed to go down to 2 milligrams and then start skipping days. So you would take 2 milligrams and not take anything the next day, and so forth. And all that's doing is just lessening the withdrawals. To withdraw off of 2 milligrams of Suboxone is very different from the withdrawal off of 16 in terms of how it feels, how it affects you.
Now that's just for the addiction side of it. There is maintenance medication. I mean, you can use Suboxone, Subutex for what is that?
Pain management.
Yeah, pain management. You can do that for as long as needed. And
Yeah.
yeah, and didn't they used to, like in the 80s, give that to elderly people that were in pain?
In Britain, not as much over here, but definitely in Europe, buprenorphine, so no
Yeah.
naloxone. Just the buprenorphine was used as a pain management medication. It wasn't. I mean, it might have existed over here. I've never heard of it. It definitely wasn't a big thing, but it was very, with elderly people, especially if they lived in like an assisted living or a retirement community where they're
Mhm.
around doctors and nurses and healthcare providers all the time. That would be the pain medication they would pick, because if they had to take them off it, it's a lot easier on the body than, Percocet, morphine, whatever, would be your typical. I mean, back in the 80s, I don't even know. I'm guessing Percocet. But yeah, it's kind of the alternative to methadone. Methadone is unbelievably strong. It has a very long half-life. And I've never withdrawn all the way off methadone. I've only made it so many days, but I know people that have. And according to them, that's the worst, most bone rattling detox you could ever experience is methadone, because it just lasts so long.
Right.
Um,
See, my doctor offered me methadone, what was it, about 6, 7 years ago?
yeah.
And I was scared to death to get on methadone because I'd heard horror stories about the withdrawals from it. I was scared to death. And so, I chose Suboxone and it worked for me for a long time. It did. But I started having problems with like the swelling. And I really think that was related to like my liver. I think it did some damage there. Obviously it did, but that's another story. Hey, Clancy. Hey, CCK.
The whole idea of methadone and Suboxone is a model of treatment called harm reduction. So I don't know when it started. I would say late 70s, early 80s. They started looking at how do we help addicts in a way, because if you just tell somebody just don't use, they're just going to nod their head at you and turn around and go out and use for the most part. You know, some people aren't beat up enough yet to just quit, and mostly because of the physical aspect, the fear of withdrawal. And with harm reduction, they started saying, well, what if we gave addicts their fix, their medication in the morning? We'll treat it like a medication instead of a drug. It'll be administered by a nurse, approved by a doctor, prescribed by a doctor. This will get them to come into the treatment center. That way they're getting out of the house every day. And also force them to kind of like go to group or see a therapist. This will keep them out of court. It'll keep them with having the ability to have their children, you know, all that kind of stuff, have a job. I've seen methadone and Suboxone literally save people's lives.
Oh,
Literally.
absolutely. Good morning, gone in an instant. I love you so much, lady. You really are a part of my heart, and I love you so much.
And I'm one of those people, you know, it saved my life, methadone and Suboxone. So, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things where, and I think the tough part, more so with methadone than Suboxone, you know that, and this is crazy. So with Suboxone, there is a 0% overdose risk because of the naltrexone in your system. If all you're taking is opiates, you cannot overdose because the naloxone is in your system, or at least it's unbelievably rare. But methadone has a much higher, a very high overdose risk. It's very easy to overdose, you know, depending on the person and where they're at in their life. Suboxone is more tightly regulated than methadone. How does that make any sense?
Right. Did you see what Serenity here said?
I don't forget theory of Suboxone recovery means being free. So, I mean, and she's not alone. There's a lot of people that feel that way. I'm the type of person that anymore, because I used to believe that too. I used to be very like,
good morning,
you just shouldn't be on anything. You shouldn't be on Suboxone or methadone. I felt that way for a lot of years until I ran into somebody who they didn't have to convince me that they needed to be on Suboxone or methadone. I saw it. You know, I saw it in their life that that's just where they were at, and they needed an opiate every day just to function. And it, if nothing else, it gives that person. There are so many people that never would have sought recovery had it not been for methadone or Suboxone. In terms of being on it long term, I'm not a doctor. You know, I don't know. Maybe they do need it. But yeah, these days I believe in whatever works. I truly do. I used to be anti-marijuana, anti a lot of prescription meds. Once again, not a doctor. And I've just seen it work for people. I've seen it literally bring about a lifestyle that's equal to a person that's really doing the deal in recovery. So that's a tough one. You know, you're going to hear different theories on that, whether someone should be or shouldn't, or are they really sober, blah, blah, blah. To me, they're absolutely sober and they're absolutely a person in recovery. You know?
See, I feel the same way because at least they're not, you know, using street drugs. At least they're not using heroin and things like that. You know, when I recently relapsed, Brandon came to me and he said, you know, the doctor I work with is saying that she would see you, and if you want to get back on a maintenance medication, the offer is there. I'm scared to death to do that.
Sure.
You know, because I don't want to be dependent again on. I know the doctor wouldn't put me on Suboxone again because of my experience from last time. I think that she would put me on Subutex. But I'm still scared to death. What if I get in my head again that, oh, I'm going to be okay, and I just completely take myself off again?
That's perfect. It's upside. Where do they draw the line with in your heart? And we all do. Because I used to play games with doctors. I know how to work a doctor as good as any other addict on the streets. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know I can walk into any emergency room outside of our area because they got all my paperwork in the area, but I can walk into most emergency rooms and I know exactly what to say to get a shot of morphine, to get a shot of it. I know how to do that. I've learned it in the streets.
Yeah,
it's
most addicts do. Yeah.
It's just as easy in a doctor's office. And with that, once if I was on like a medication, I know what to say to get a higher dosage. That, in my opinion, yeah, that's probably not somebody who's active in their recovery in terms of trying to get healthy. That's someone who's not done using yet. Not always, but for the most part, if you're still playing games with doctors, you're playing games with doctors, trying to get meds, trying to get this or that. Maybe that's what they need. I don't know. All I know is that period in my life, I was not a person in recovery. I was
Do
a
you see
person
what
who was trying to get high.
Kristen said? I couldn't. Do you see what she said?
I could have been the brand because there is one brand I can't take either. It's what me up. Okay, I've heard of that, but yeah, I don't know a lot about it. So when the generics hit, that was one of the questions that came up. That's interesting, Sarah. I didn't think of that, but yeah, definitely something to consider.
Wait, there's generics for it now? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so it went generic. I don't know how many years ago. Yeah, they sold the patent and it went generic. I think they have to. You have to after a certain point in time. Because I mean, as you can imagine, they've been sued left and right and all that crap. But yeah, there's a generic for Suboxone and Subutex. There's a bunch of pain maintenance medications now related to buprenorphine. One of them's called Belbuca. There's a 30-day shot coming out. There's a buprenorphine pump coming out. I stay up on this stuff because the people I talk to are usually in that field. And I've been blessed to be around. I've known some of Suboxone's reps, and the people that work for them, and amazing people, man.
You got to go to dinner with them.
yeah, I got to go eat a $100 a plate dinner with them. It was amazing. But then they're salesmen. They're trying to sell a medication, but they're also real people, and they're real honest especially with doctors and clinicians about what, and it was an interesting experience. But I'm definitely in support of these medications if someone's really honest and working with their doctor in the right way. And then the issue is most addicts, in their first year on a medication like that, they don't even know how to work honestly with a doctor. They just know more is better, so it's a tough one. But yeah, I believe in it for sure.
I do too, but I'm scared to death of it. That doesn't make sense, but in my mind it does.
No, I mean, I get it.
I guess I'm convincing myself that I'm never going to use heroin again. But how many times have I said that? And how many times have I relapsed and overdosed? Oh my gosh. I don't know. I guess the addict in me is saying you don't need it, right?
Of course.
I don't crave it right now, but maybe that's because I got that buzz again to be sober and recovery.
Yeah, sure.
But then the other part of me is like, Sarah, you do need it because, if you ever do crave it, that medication will be there to take the cravings away. Good morning, Rachella. I don't know. Does that even make sense?
That makes perfect sense. I mean, there's a whole multitude of reasons of how it could benefit your life. It's just a matter of what you want to do. The shine wears off recovery. You know that.
Yeah.
After a while, it just becomes a part of your life, and it's no different than going to the store or, eating dinner. It's just a part of my life. It's what I do every day. To keep the buzz in recovery sometimes takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
And, just depending on where I'm at in my recovery, whether I'm helping newcomers or not, it depends. But yeah, it's one of those things. If right now you got the buzz of recovery and you don't want to be on that medication, you got to find a way to keep that buzz of recovery. That's going to be the key for you, just from my perspective.
Oh gosh, look what Gon said. I had a morphine pump for 2 years after my accident. I was blessed to go off of it so easily. Wow.
Yeah, you are blessed.
Absolutely. Oh gosh. Yeah, she was in a really bad accident. God love her.
God, she's still here. It's a miracle, I'm sure.
Yeah. And Serenity here says the craving for me is too intense. I need help to Yes. I wish they had some kind of medication like Suboxone for Xanax. Because that one's my big one. Once I start taking Xanax, for whatever reason, my mind convinces me that I need to go and use heroin or whatever drug there is. And that gets me into trouble.
Sure.
I really wish there was a medication like Suboxone when it comes to, yeah. Hey, RV Charity Drive. How are you doing this morning?
Yeah, maintenance drugs are just that. You additionally have to replace them to fail and reuse with tools and actions that empower you to continue to fight the urge. I couldn't say it better. I mean, it's just what it is. You know, I feel like, you know, when people get on Suboxone or methadone, that's kind of intro into recovery. You know, because they have to see a therapist, they have to see a doctor, and those are the people that are going to be standing there going, "Hey, you know, it's great you're on this medication. We know it's helping you. What are you doing outside of here, you know, to get better and stronger?"
Thank you. Read what she said. Sub saved my life when I needed them to. Yes.
Never want to feel again.
It is so hard.
I've spent years of my life dope sick, you know, just sick, just laying in bed, thinking of how awful my life is and how miserable and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, I would be on my way to get heroin or pills and I would feel better just on the way getting there. I haven't even put them in my system yet, and I'm not even dope sick anymore.
God, I'm so sorry, Gone. My brother was in an accident, and it did end in his suicide. I'm so
Awful.
sorry.
So it's, you know, it's one of those things, man. And there's a lot of information online. There's a lot of good information online and on YouTube, but it's about the individual, you know. I know people that have been on methadone 30 years and their health's not real great, you know, just how long term they've been on that medication. And if they've been on it 30 years, they're probably on a pretty high dosage. I think the highest you can get in the state of Ohio is 100 milligrams. So,
is it?
I'm pretty sure it's either 100 or 120. And, you know,
I'm scared of methadone because I feel I've taken methadone before, not prescribed to me, but out on the streets. And I mean, I was high as a kite, and I don't want to feel that. And I know that methadone works for a lot of people, but for me, I'm afraid of that feeling again. I'm afraid to get high again. And I think
it's a side effect. It's absolutely a side effect. You know, is euphoria, but that's why a lot of times people start on really low dosages, like 20 and 30. And that still might give you a little euphoria. One of the issues with methadone is it'll stack in your system.
Yes.
The half-life's so long that, you know, it's going to stack. So
that scares me. You know, I know what's going to happen if I go to the doctor. They're going to either say, you know, which would you prefer, methadone or Subutex? And oh boy, the addict in me is going to sit there and say, yes, I want some methadone. But I know that it would probably be the best interest for me to do Subutex again, because I'm not going to get as high off of that. And if I were to go on Suboxone, there's a blocker, the naloxone. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. Yes, blue sugar. Naloxone blocks your receptors, whereas methadone doesn't. Correct. Yes.
But even with methadone, it's unbelievably hard to get high on methadone. Like trust me, I've tried. On opiates, oh yeah. Once you're on a high dose of methadone,
yeah,
it's just hard. Like,
yeah, it's hard to top that.
Like, okay, so like if you're on methadone, you've been on it a while, and you shoot dope, you might get a rush, but that's it. Like, there's nothing after that. Like,
yeah,
you're not going to feel any
gonna
sort of
overdose
legs.
too.
You could, yeah, oh yeah, and that's what happens to a lot of people. Or,
be careful, blue sugar.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. You know, I've known people. I've taken unbelievably high dosages of methadone, and it's a miracle I'm still here. And I've seen people that didn't make it, that took 200 and 300 milligrams. because not all some methadone clinics you can buy methadone in the parking lot. That's just kind of how it goes. So
M said, I guess I never realized subs made you high. Seems like a backwards system.
it's not an opiate, but it's not. I don't know how to
It's a
explain
partial opiate. Suboxone's like it's a partial.
it is, but the way you feel isn't like an opiate buzz. It's never felt like. I don't know how to explain it. It just doesn't feel like like to me. As many times I've taken some Subutex or Suboxone, it does not feel like I'm taking Percocet or Vicodin or heroin.
Right.
It just feels different. That's the only way I know how to explain it. I wouldn't even call it a high. It's more like a stimulant, like coffee or something. I mean, it's obvious you're going to feel something. I'm not saying
like the first couple times you take it, you might get quite the buzz off of it just because you're not used to it.
I don't know. I mean, but in my story, the way it went for me is I went from 80 milligrams of methadone, and then I detoxed for 5 days, and then I went on 8 milligrams of Suboxone, and then I think they took me up to 16.
Mm-hmm.
So going from 80 milligrams of methadone to 8 of Suboxone, I just didn't really feel it. I didn't feel like, and I was pissed. I had actually left a treatment. Well, I got kicked out of a treatment center, and I was excited to get in this other facility because they had Suboxone. So it was like the new thing on the streets for me that everybody was talking about, like this Suboxone clinic. So I get in the Suboxone clinic, and they finally give me the medication after so many days. I felt better, like I wasn't sick. I didn't have any withdrawal symptoms, but I didn't feel high, and I was kind of pissed. I was like, this is bullshit. I'm used to 80 milligrams of methadone. So I just kept telling them I didn't feel good, till they gave me 16. But, and even then, I definitely felt something, but it wasn't what I was used to. So I guess that's kind of why I tell people that, like, when people talk about this big buzz from Suboxone, it's just not my experience.
Yeah. Gone asks, Brandon, do they still use Antabuse for alcoholics?
They do. You have to meet a very specific criteria for Antabuse. And it's kind of rare. There's another medication they do now, and I cannot think of the name of it. Starts with a C, I believe. But yeah, I've met people that had a lot of success with Antabuse, but most people I talked to just drank through it or just didn't take it. But yeah, it's definitely still around. A lot of times that seems to be a military thing. So people that are in the military, they'll usually give them Antabuse. In terms of people that are civilians, no, I haven't seen that much.
Did you ever have to take Antabuse, Brandon?
I've never had it. I've never taken it. No.
Because alcohol was your main.
Oh, absolutely. But I always had opiates in my system. I always had heroin in my system. So, like, they were always focused on the opiates because of withdrawal. If they treat the opiate withdrawal, we don't have to worry about the alcohol withdrawal. I mean, I think they gave me something. The only real formal detox I did, it was that same detox. They gave me 8 milligrams of Suboxone, and I think they gave me Valium because of the alcohol.
Yes.
For a couple days, just like a day or two. And on the third day, when I asked for it, they were like, "You're not in withdrawal anymore." They kind of knew what was going on. So, just
hey,
one of those
Steve
things.
Yoakum. Hey, Kathy Rebuilds. Gone. My caregiver needs it. Have you ever tried to talk to your caregiver about it, Gone? Oh, I wish I could take care of you. I love you so much. Absolutely, Donna Marie. We talk about it because I guess this is kind of like what I'm going through since, what just happened with me. And I think I need a maintenance medication, but oh gosh, I'm so scared of those withdrawals, man.
Yeah. And one of the things that's ringing through my head is at some point in your life, honey, like, you need to go see a doctor, period.
I know it. See, I'm scared to go see a doctor. I'm one of those people, like you were just talking about. I'm one of those people that can manipulate a doctor, right? And I'm so scared to do that again.
That's why you go see an addictionologist, because they're a lot harder to get over on.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, they're pretty used to the bullshit. They're pretty used to somebody saying, "Oh, I'm in pain," yet they were smiling 3 minutes ago before they walked in there. You know, they know what to look for. Now, trust me, I've met some addictionologists that got no business working on addiction.
Yeah.
And I've also worked with doctors that are no longer working in addiction due to their behavior, due to their prescription pad. Hey,
Oh, yeah.
that's part of the deal too. There are plenty of bad doctors out there, but for the most part, man, a lot of these guys, addictionologists make a lot less. Depending on their setup in private practice, than they would in other forms of medicine. So typically, other disciplines. So typically, if they're working in addiction, it's because they want to. It's not a money thing. Don't
Right.
get me wrong. There's plenty of money to make an addiction, but a lot of them, man, they're taking a pay cut to come do it. They have a
It's
passion
so
for it.
sad. I've heard Brandon come home and he will tell me these stories, and oh my God, it breaks my heart. And I don't know, man. Did you see what Jesse Cat said? I'm tapering off of methadone, but it's a slow process. It will be a year before I'm off of it.
Yeah.
I want to try Suboxone.
Yeah, perfect. That's a good a year. Like that's a good detox. From what I was told, I never did it, but everybody I've seen had a lot of success with methadone. It took about a year, and then some people do get on Suboxone after, some don't. It kind of just depends on where you're at. But yeah, I'm all for it. It's I've seen people quit methadone cold turkey, and it didn't look real pretty. I've been locked up with people that were kicking methadone, and oh boy.
Gone, you need to get away from your caregiver. If your caregiver is drinking and using crack,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah, I'd say that's not a good mix.
You have got to get away from that.
Not a good mix.
No. Drinking and using crack. Wow. I'm so sorry.
Me too. Be sure to lock up your valuables,
Yes.
jewelry, electronics, anything that could be pawned or sold.
Yes. If that person is using crack, they'll do anything to get money to continue that high. And that person needs to be as far away from you as possible, gone. That really hurts my heart.
I'm sure she's not the only one. There's plenty of that going on. And
it's not fair, if there's somebody that's a caregiver for someone, they need to be focused on who they're caring for. And how can you be a caregiver if you're drinking and using crack? I'm just so sorry. I know you do, Gone. That's why I always said that if I could take you, I'd bring you here and take care of you myself.
she would too. She's good at it.
Yeah, I took care of my grandparents, and that was definitely an experience. It was a lot of heartache too, because we'd see my grandfather fall. We would have to pick him up.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't getting enough oxygen to his brain, so sometimes when he would stand up, he would just fall straight down.
Yeah.
And passed out, like slumped over.
Dead
It was
weight.
pretty scary.
And it was so hard to pick him up. There was so many times he would be, trying to walk when he shouldn't. And he was kind of stubborn like his granddaughter. And he would just fall on me, and just out of nowhere, his O2, his oxygen would drop down to like, oh God.
I don't remember the numbers, but it was low
like
enough for
40,
him to pass out.
It was crazy.
I think 90 is a good number, and yeah, it was like 40.
Oh.
Enough for him to pass out.
Yeah, it's really hard to be a caregiver, but you got to have the heart to do it, because it's a really hard job. And I'm glad I had that experience with them. I think it made me a better person, Are you still there, Brandon?
I'm muted just real quick. I was letting the dogs in.
Oh, okay.
Okay, sorry about that.
I have a social worker coming, but he said he would sabotage her coming. I'm so sorry.
You're going to have to go above his head.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do everything you can in your power to get away from them. Because that's abuse at that
That
point.
is absolutely abuse.
They shouldn't be threatening you like that at all.
No. You deserve better, Gone. I know your heart, and I know the person that you are, and you don't deserve that. You deserve better.
So I hope that made sense with methadone and Suboxone and all that. It's a different world. You know, I was exposed to it. I got on methadone when I was 20. I actually turned 21 at residential at the methadone clinic. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot about recovery, but I also learned a lot about how to be a junkie, you know.
Yeah.
And that's just part of the territory. And that's just where I was at in life. It wasn't anybody's fault but mine. But I definitely got an education there.
Mm-hmm.
I've literally sat in an alcohol drug group. There's two counselors up front giving lectures on different varieties of, you know, education on and the disease and recovery. And everyone in the group's nodded out. Because back then you could be prescribed methadone and a benzo at the same time. I don't think they do that anymore, but they used
That's
to.
crazy. Are you kidding me?
I was prescribed, put it this way, I was prescribed 80 milligrams of methadone. I think it was a Klonopin in the morning, 1 milligram, and a Klonopin at night. But there were people in there prescribed 3 bars a day.
Oh my gosh.
On top of methadone. So you can imagine.
Now, was that down off of
James H. McGee.
God, Lord have mercy, what an area.
Yeah, right in the middle of the projects.
Yes.
But
yes.
Sometimes that's where the best recovery is, because it is about life or death.
Is it still down there?
No, they moved.
Oh, okay.
They're in Moraine.
Oh, that's right. They moved like a couple years ago. Gosh,
Yeah.
See, I forget all this stuff. I have forgotten all about that.
They were there for 40 years. They were there a long, 30, yep. 40 years. And they were amazing, amazing people. Do anything for you, and just, I need to go see them. There's so many good people over there that I haven't seen in a long time.
When we went to our, when you was working at a certain place, we did that right in downtown Dayton.
Yeah.
And you got to see a lot of.
I know.
That was awesome.
I was in tears the whole time.
Yeah.
That's how much I love them dudes, man. They saved my life. And they knew right well. They know me, you know.
And they were old school.
Oh, yeah. These are guys in their 70s. Yeah. 60s and 70s. Yeah.
Oh, Marie Duffy says, I'm on pain meds for my knee, and now I have scoliosis in my lower back. The pain in my lower back is really bad, and I thought that the pain meds for my knee would help. No.
See, that's pain management. The way it was explained to me is it's not an exact science. It's kind of an art. You know, the doctor has to go in there and really look at side effect management and how to best help somebody without over medicating them. Plus, there's so much regulation, and the feds are involved with pain meds, and it's just a nightmare right now for the doctors.
Oh, speaking of that, tell the story about you were working for a certain doctor and they raided you guys.
Yeah, I was there for a raid. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I was
like that was an actual SWAT. They came in with guns and everything pointed at you.
So I was working for a doctor, good friend of ours who passed on. We miss him very much. So he was doing he'd doing my meds. You know, I had some high blood pressure and other stuff. And we were just kind of getting to know each other because we worked together all the time. So occasionally I would go see him at his private practice, which was in an office of other pain management and addiction doctors. Mm-hmm. Well, it turns out that the guy who ran the place, his pain management license had lapsed and he did not renew it, but he didn't tell the other doctors. So they're prescribing all these medications thinking they have a license to do it. They don't. So we were in there, and then all of a sudden we were talking, and all of a sudden I just heard like a ruckus, you know, like sounds in the hallway. And then I heard a guy say, DEA. I think it was DEA and FBI.
Oh my God.
You know, get on the ground. And then they came straight in our room. They knew my name. They knew my social. I didn't have to give it to them. So they were watching that building. They must have read my license plate, I'm guessing, and just looked me up. I mean, I don't know if they knew I was a counselor or whatever. They just probably looked at my legal history, and it's obvious I've been, around addiction for years. But it was crazy. It was crazy. They slowly let us go. It was all over the news.
Yeah, but that doctor got out of that and then got in trouble again.
Yeah, he ended up getting out of it and then got caught about a year later doing the same thing. Prescribing unbelievable amounts of opiates. And
is he still in jail?
Maybe. I don't
know.
know.
He was the one that was giving Opana out like crazy.
Yeah, high doses of Opana.
Yeah.
And it was very, very sad.
Really. It was.
I got to know him and his family pretty well, and it was not a good environment. We'll just say that. I think he had some addiction issues as well. So
yeah, there's doctors around the Dayton area that if you give them enough money, they will prescribe you whatever you want. Yeah. As many Xanaxes as you want, as many opiates as you want for the right price. And, there's been a lot of busts, drug busts, for doctors doing that. I think there was one down off of Linden Avenue, if I'm not mistaken, that happened to. I forget his name, though.
Her name was Dr. K. K-A-Y.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. She was my doctor for about 6 months. Yeah.
Are you serious? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see her. I saw like a PA, but yeah. It was a mess. It was a pill mill. They finally busted them, and I think actually she didn't go to prison. Her husband did for some reason. It was weird. It was a weird situation, but I kind of followed the story. But I don't think she's a doctor anymore, as far as I know. Not around here.
Serenity here says, I had one of those docs. His prescription pad was my best friend.
Amen. Amen. Yep. I remember those days.
Yeah, down off of Woodman, there's a doctor, Dr. Gupta.
Yeah.
And
he's been doing it a long time.
Yeah, but he got in trouble. And I should have gotten in on that one, but that's a whole other story.
He got in trouble for like touching women. For like.
And that's the sad part of it. I was like 19 years old and he was prescribing me like huge high doses of Oxycontin. And I had become addicted to the Oxycontin. And so I would go in there and do whatever I could to get that medication. So when he was checking out my heart, like listening to my heart or whatever, he would grope me. And I guess he did that to a lot of women. And there was an actual group, what's that called? Where they sued him, a group.
Class action.
Yes, a class action lawsuit on him. Yep. Dr. Gupta, gosh, I'll never forget him. Ugh.
Do you know who the other doctor was?
No.
His wife.
You're kidding me.
It's his wife. Yeah.
Oh.
It was him and her. They both worked there. So I think she knew. It was a mess. I remember that.
Yeah.
It was all over the news. And it was messed up.
I wish I'd have gotten in on that because he did that to me. He wouldn't let any of the nurses in. It was always him first. And he would come in, check your heart. And, he would like grope me. And I felt so weird, it weirded me out. But I was addicted to the medication. So I didn't really care.
Yeah, it's like a trade.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll never forget that. Like, that's always going to be in my mind. I don't know. That's something that's always bothered me. Yeah. Jesse Cat, he was absolutely a POS. Absolutely. Is he still working? I don't think he is.
I don't believe so. Not around here. Usually when that happens, they'll go to a different state.
Oh.
Yeah. Usually.
He doesn't deserve to be a doctor because from what I heard, he did a lot of grotesque things to women, like worse than just groping women. It was disgusting. And he's one of those doctors that would give you whatever you wanted. High doses of medications. Yeah, someone just messaged me and said he's gone. Good. I'm glad he's gone. I am so glad he's gone.
He should be.
Yeah. Someone just messaged me and said that they went to him too. And yeah, he's gone. Good. Hey, Brianne. How are you, hon? Good morning. Oh, Brienne last night sent me some of the most beautiful little voice messages of the kids.
Yeah,
It
those are
was
awesome.
they was playing pretend, them together, and they was making pretend soups. Brienne recorded it, and
Oh,
Jackson was, oops, shit, I said his name. He was making lemon soup and squash soup, cucumber soup. It was so funny.
the voice of angels.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love their little voices. I'm sorry I said his name, Brian. I apologize. I didn't mean to do that. I wasn't even thinking. Oh. Yeah, that doctor should be in prison. I absolutely agree. I don't know what happened with that case or with him. Um, I didn't, gosh, how long ago has that been? That's been
Few
quite a few years
years, yeah,
ago.
3,
Like,
maybe 5. I can't remember.
oh gosh, probably closer to 10. That's been a long
Maybe,
time ago. I don't
maybe.
remember. I don't know. Lord, there's been so much happen in the past few years. I'm lucky if I know if I'm going or coming. You're right, Miss Storky. It's okay. It happens. Don't let it get to you. We all have slip ups. You're right. This last slip up was a doozy, though. And oh boy. Oh, I had to.
Unfortunately,
I've forgiven myself, though. Like, I really was mad. For the first week and a half, I was so mad that I did that. And I was so mad that I used heroin again. Like, I hated myself for that. And I don't understand why I did that, because I have so much hate for that drug now, because I've lost so many people recently that I loved from that frickin' drug. And I can't believe I used that again.
unfortunately, sometimes it takes extreme circumstances to get us to like refocus on life and recovery and getting healthy. You know, it doesn't have to be that way, but for some people, you know, they need the big wake up call. You know,
Yeah. Oh gosh, it was a big wake up call when I woke up in the hospital and they said I overdosed and about died.
yeah.
That was a huge wake up call. Um, it was an experience that I'll never forget. And I guess, everything does happen for a reason. And maybe I needed, I don't know. I don't know. I'm still battling with that. Maybe in a few months I'll be more able to talk about it freely. I don't know.
Yeah, you'll gain perspective and understanding. But honey, my phone is about to die.
Oh, are you leaving me?
I've probably got a few more minutes. I did just want to say to everybody out there that's on Suboxone and methadone, do what your doctor says, do what your sponsor says. You know, everything I've said about it is just my experience. I know plenty of textbook stuff about it, but at the end of the day, everybody's kind of different. All I know is it really worked for me when I was really actually trying to do something different. When I wasn't, it didn't really work. It was just another excuse to, keep me in that hole. But I'm really grateful to all of y'all for showing up, for listening, for participating, and taking care of my crazy wife. You know, I don't ever have to worry about where she is. She's usually yelling at her phone. So it's easy to indicate where she is in the household. And no, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for all of y'all. And it's a good day. It's a good day to be clean and sober. And I just
It
hope
is.
everybody has a great day. So,
Yeah. That was very well said, Brandon. Jesse Cat says, at least you're not giving up though. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'm proud of you. That's for sure.
I'm telling you what, it's an everyday fight. Like, when I was sober for like those 6-7 years, it was easy. I'm still trying to figure out in my head what happened. You know what, Gon? I love you too. I genuinely love you. You are a big part of my heart. And I'm so grateful that you're here. I'm so grateful that you're my friend. Miss Dorky, I love you. You're my BFF too. Life can be a beautiful journey. It can. And through sobriety and recovery, it can absolutely be beautiful. I'm still mad at myself, I think, because of I'm trying to forgive myself. I'm really trying to forgive myself because I caused a lot of harm this time, and I've got a lot of amends to make, but I'm still trying to forgive myself, you know.
Well, I forgive you and I love you.
Well, thank you. I needed that.
I'm going to go make some breakfast. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Bye, Brandon. Oh, he's a gem. Like, I don't know what I'd do without Brandon. He's the wisdom I need, you know, and he's understanding, and he always has the knowledge that I need when I'm struggling or when I doubt myself. He always has that positivity, and for that I'm always grateful. I wish I could be more of a support for you. I love you dearly as well. Yes, we can be train wrecks together. Serenity here. No, we are not saints. You are so right. We all do have our weak moments. Yeah. He's definitely a keeper. Yeah. He's a good one. And I'm grateful, you know, for sobriety, and I'm grateful for recovery, because I don't think that I'd be here right now if it wasn't for recovery and a program. This last bit was hard, and it was hard to stop using, and maybe I needed, I don't know, I don't want to talk about that. I'm going to start tearing up. Oh, I think that I'm going to jump off here. I got a text from my son saying I need to call the school back. Ugh. Miss Dorky, you are a support in your own way. I love talking to you in your Discord. Every day it makes my day. You mean a lot. Thank you, Miss Dorky. Yeah, we have a pretty good Discord going, and there's a lot of good people in there, and I'm grateful that you guys, you know, just like to talk to me in there. I'm very grateful for that. Good morning, Carlos. How are you doing? I love you too, Gon, and I hope you have a great day. I really do. I genuinely care about you. I'm worried about you. And if there's anything you ever need from me, please don't hesitate. I'll do anything I can to help you. Yeah, everybody have a great day. I think I'm going to jump off here and call the school again. And I got to make a couple other calls with some things that's going on that I don't even want to. It's a mess. But I hope you all have a great day, and thank you for being here and listening to us. I appreciate all of you guys. Talk to y'all soon.